Hello everyone! Today I want to talk about the new upcoming character Kuki Shinobou, who will be released on the Itto banner, and this will hopefully help you figure out if she fits your playstyle and team composition, so ultimately if she's worth your wishes. And since she is a 4-star character, a quick disclaimer before we start: if you are at like fresh pity, no say 50-50, I can see why you would try to snipe her off a banner, but in general, if you don't want Itto, I wouldn't recommend going beyond like 20 or 30 wishes. You will probably regret if you get him after you are like 10k Prima Gems in and Shinobou is still nowhere to be seen. In the first place, you only have about a 50% chance to get a rate up 4-star character, and then you obviously only have a 1 in 3 chance to get the one you want. Anyway, back on track. First, I will go over her skill kit and talk about some build ideas, and in the later half, I'll get into synergies and team compositions. Her normal attacks aren't anything too interesting, so let's get right into the elemental skill. She sacrifices some HP, maybe like 30%, to create this electro ring around her to continuously heal your active character and deal some damage to enemies, so kind of similar to Chi or Barbara, I guess. I feel like the damage on the skill isn't too impressive, so I think it's mostly to apply electro to finish elemental reactions, which kind of makes sense since she also has a passive skill that increases her damage based on elemental mastery. The other passive skill is just some bonus healing, and the last one is increased expedition rewards in Inazuma. Her elemental burst skill is kind of similar to Ayaka in a sense that it triggers a lot of smaller hits to deal massive burst damage overall in a short period of time. It creates this field which lasts, to throw some random numbers out there which I got from a random epiphany, 2 seconds, and if Shinobou is below 50% HP it lasts 3.5 seconds. Now let's get into some build options. I think for this character it will be kind of complicated since she is kind of a healer, but at the same time she tries to be a sub DPS with her damage heavy elemental burst skill. I feel like she also has HP scaling and she gets another damage multiplier from elemental mastery. So the challenge will be to find out where the perfect balance is between these two stats and the usual crit damage. Some smart theory crafters have likely already figured it out, but to give you a rough idea, it will probably look somewhat like this. So between 100 and 200 elemental mastery, I guess, for the extra 25 to 50% damage, and then your priority shifts over to crit rate, crit damage, in her case obviously HP, and the usual electro damage bonus. As for the weapon, I think a good option could be the Favonius Sword, since the base attack obviously for a true HP scaling character doesn't matter at all, and this helps you with generating energy. In case you don't really need too much energy recharge and all this, you obviously can go for the Iron Sting for the extra elemental mastery or the Ally Flash. And for the artifacts, you obviously go for your HP percentage in this slot, electro damage bonus in this slot, and crit rate or crit damage bonus in the last slot. And since she is a healer, most healers usually wear the Noblesse set to get the extra attack buff for your team, so this would be the best option, followed by the Emblem of Severed Fate set if you have the Noblesse set on another character already. And now let's get into team compositions. She is obviously a healer, so if that's all you expect her to do, you can obviously use her in pretty much any team composition. Otherwise, I think she might be a decent option in a team with Sarah, since Shinobou mostly brings damage to the table, and Sarah can make up for some of the utility you lose for dropping Bennett or Jean as your healer. From here on, you can obviously go down the Mono Electro team with something like Raiden as your main DPS, who also increases your elemental burst damage, which is obviously great for Shinobou. And in your last slot, you can pick an Anemo character like Venti, for example, to bring the Viridescent set, Kazor, who also increases your elemental bonus damage, or the best option maybe even Sucrose, because she increases your team's elemental mastery, which obviously has direct synergy with Shinobou. Instead, you can obviously also pick another sub-DPS to trigger some elemental reactions, for example Zhang Ling as Pyro sub-DPS, or something like a Hydro sub-DPS like Jingshou or the newly releasing Yelan. I think this is most likely the most efficient way to use Shinobou, especially obviously if you have C6 Sarah. You can drop the whole Electro team idea and have some other options, but to be honest, it will likely just leave you with the question, wouldn't this team just be better with Bennett? Which is fair, but let me give you some examples anyway, just in case you want to insist on playing Shinobou. So essentially you want to build some quick swap teams which spam some elemental reactions. So you want another Hydro, Pyro and Anemo character. Electrocharge, Vaporize, Overload and Swirl is what you're aiming for. So for main DPS you have some options between Hydro characters and Pyro characters right here. Your Pyro characters obviously need a pretty fast application rate, so I wouldn't recommend something like Hutao for example, but something like Klee with her Elemental Bear skill, or these two characters just attack really fast. Let's go with the Hydro option first. Then you obviously pick your Zhangling as your Pyro character, and you pick any of the Anemo characters. For example, Sucrose, the Elemental Mastery buff is obviously great in this kind of situation. Or you swap it around and pick your Pyro DPS as main DPS and another Hydro sub DPS. And if you don't want to do this, also you have the last option, but here it becomes really apparent why you wouldn't just play Bennett, because this is a Eula physical team obviously and you have Shinobou to trigger Superconduct, but why wouldn't you just drop Rosaria for Raiden and pick your Bennett up? It's way worse than the Bennett option. I can't find him right now. Oh, here it is. So yeah, this character is a little limited. Unfortunately, healers kind of need a little bit of utility in their kit if they want to compete with Bennett. Alright, so we made it to the end. I hope this helped you decide whether you want to wish for Shinobou or not. Again, I would never recommend going beyond like 30 pity without a safe 50-50 for a 4-star character, and she seems fun, but honestly she probably won't be the character to dethrone Bennett as the best healer. Anyway, that's it. Stay tuned for more videos. Until then, have fun and bye bye.